I'm just going to go ahead and skip over this riveting tale that I had about growth developments and cost to serve in Greer, and just go ahead and give our time to Joe Minicozzi, because you are going to be blown away by what you see here in just a minute with the presentation that Joe is going to give us. Joe Minicozzi is the principal of Urban3 LLC, the consulting division of public interest projects, a real estate development company based in downtown Asheville. The fact that he has come from Asheville and it's more than 60 miles from him makes him an expert. That's how you determine an expert, if you go more than 60 miles away from home. Joe has a varied background in both the public and private side of planning and zoning, as well as real estate and finance, that has allowed him to develop an award-winning analytical tool for which you're going to see here in just a little while. Joe is a sought-after lecturer on city planning issues and policy, and his work with the Congress of New Urbanism, the American Planning Association, and New Partners for Smart Growth has created a paradigm shift for how we think about growth and development patterns. Joe's firm specializes in land, value economics, property and retail tax analysis, and community design. Joe's work empowers his clients with the ability to promote development patterns that secure a community's fiscal condition while reinforcing a stronger sense of place. As the company's name implies, cities and towns represent a 3D representation of space, which creates the built environment which serves as the basis for urban design. Joe's unique analysis provides a better understanding of this environment by measuring data and then visualizing the results. And I'm sure we're going to see that as well today. I have seen Joe's presentation in his data-driven approach to the practice of building better communities, and I can assure you that you will never look at a piece of land, a lot, a vacant lot in an urban setting, or a new building in the same way, again, following his presentation. Please join me in welcoming Joe Minicozzi of Urban3 to our 10 at the top forum.
Thanks, Mayor. Now I have to live up to that. How many of y'all have seen me present before? Just a couple. Great. No shouting out the answers to some of my jokes. I've got a challenge to bring to you a different way of seeing things, a different way of looking at the communities. I'm sure that you all have been to Asheville before. I'm going to take you through a little bit of history of Asheville. A lot of this is going to be, it's actually, Charlie hit a lot of the same points about cities and how they're not finished. If I could get the lights here, I don't care if you see me, I want you all to look up here. I'm going to put a couple of points up front about the way that I see cities. Greenwood will eventually grow up and be another city. It will evolve. All cities evolve the same way that I evolved, right? So this is how I started life when I was 3 months old, right? This is me when I had hair, and this is what I'm going to become. So I'll be Papa whether I like it or not. You all do this, right? You look at your family members and you see these things. More importantly, I see my dad, and I have a couple of things I have to contend with. Number one, I'm Italian. You can see that from my name. We like to eat a lot, being Italian. You can see that on my father. We also have a genetic predisposition to heart disease. So I know that I have heart issues in my family. It's a no-brainer to me that I'm going to have to deal with that in my future. So I could choose to continue to eat like an Italian would and have a lot of pasta and pizza and all the other bad things. Or I can do that and exercise, right? So think about this. You know this is in you. Your city is just a child about to grow up. Or in the case of Greenville, it's an adolescent dealing with adolescent issues. But Greenwood was eventually going to be Greenville. So knowing this and planning for that, that's that work that you constantly have to do. I constantly have to work on my body and see myself being Papa. Did y'all get that? That's my lesson number one up front. What's your community, where are you going, and what are you going to be when you grow up? The second is a test. I want to get you to see the way that we see data. So I'm going to ask you a really simple question. I know that it's in the afternoon. This is a really simple kids puzzle. Just tell me how many shapes you see in this next image. It's real simple. Just count the shapes. How many shapes do you see? Ready, go. Okay, who has the answer? Shout it out. You're not going to fail. I'm not going to keep you from leaving? 7? 18? Somebody said 30? 40? Anybody want to go higher than 40? Anybody want to go lower than 9? How many kids were on the school bus? Anyone? 12? There's 5 kids on the school bus. It was 10 after 10 on the clock. You know, there's data that's there right in front of you, hiding in plain sight. But I delivered to you a question. I steered the way that you thought by the question that I put before you. When we think about our cities, I want you to keep this paramount in your mind, that you're being asked the question, is this a master plan that we need to do for our downtown? Is this a zoning code change? Are we adopting this one plan for this part of our community? That's just looking at the shapes. The data that's before you is hiding in plain sight. You just have to ask deeper questions. So this is actually a form of behavioral thinking. A Nobel Prize-winning behavioral economist, his name is Daniel Kahneman, wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. It's all based on this point of thinking. Our brains operate in 2 ways. There's a fast mode and a slow mode. What I did is I put you in a fast mode. I asked you a question. So your mind immediately went to that. Think of us being hunter-gatherers in the savannah. We're looking for that tiger, right? We can tune out all the other information looking for the tiger. This is a behavioral quirk in our brains, and we miss all the data that we should be considering for that long-term thinking. So that's it. These are my lessons up front. Now let's get into the story. So y'all know Asheville. It's up in the mountains. I just rolled downhill to get here. We're in this beautiful setting. We have bluegrass music. We have lots of beer. We're up to 20 breweries now. It's getting kind of insane. And you know, just quirky, typical little mountain town with men dressed as nuns on tall bikes that eat fire. Your typical place, right? We didn't start this way. This is Asheville back in the 1800s. This is a shot down Main Street. Y'all stood at this spot if you visited Asheville. 20 years after this picture was taken, this is what became of downtown Asheville. We like to say the 3 T's made Asheville: trains, tourism, and tuberculosis. But once the train lines came in, it brought this flood of tourists. We grew incredibly rapidly through the 1920s. We had the second streetcar line in the entire country. Presidents came to visit. We still have presidents that visit. It was a little mountain mecca. During the 1920s, we grew at 20% in population every single year of the decade. Explosive growth. We were the 2nd largest city in North Carolina. Did y'all know that we were bigger than Charlotte? The only city that was bigger than Asheville was Winston-Salem by 1930. Did y'all know that? In that, we achieved the highest debt per capita of the entire United States. We were #1 in debt. And when the Depression hit, we thought we had $5 million in the bank. Turned out we had $18,000 in the bank, a little clerical error. Our city council was indicted and the mayor committed suicide. That's how we entered the Depression. Welcome to Asheville. Thomas Wolfe, famous American author, native of Asheville, this is what he had to say about his hometown. Asheville has squandered fabulous sums. They've flung away the earnings of a lifetime. They've mortgaged those of a generation to come. They have ruined the city. And in doing so, they've ruined themselves, their children, and their children's children. I'd like that if you said that about your hometown. Incidentally, he wrote that in Lacombe Word Angel. His second book was called You Can't Go Home Again for obvious reasons. He named names, but in a way, he nailed it. Asheville, with that debt, the federal government, in part of the New Deal program, was absolving a lot of southern cities of their debt. Asheville, in this kind of proto-Tea Party way, basically told the government to take a hike. We're going to pay that debt off. It took us until 1976 to pay off that debt. Now, to show you the damage to the children's children, this is the newspaper headline from the day that we paid off 40 years of basically shackled debt. We didn't even make it above the fold. There it is. It's #3 story behind somebody dying in a prison fire and something about abortions. Now think about this. This debt that we've carried around didn't even beat somebody dying in a prison. This is the damage that it did in my community. So when we did get out of debt, we tried to catch up with other communities. We tried to do everything else that everybody else did to try to succeed. So we built highways. We cut a highway through the north side of downtown, which became the Crosstown Expressway. And for those of you that have been to our downtown 40 years ago, you might remember a thriving downtown, but what happened when we cut the mountain open, when we did the boat catcher cut, I love that it's on a postcard, by the way, this is awesome. On the other side of the cut, the mall happened and our downtown died. We went through the same experience that every American city did. We basically followed everybody off the cliff and did the exact same thing. So this is downtown Asheville from 1996. That's a 1996 Chevy Celebrity right there. Look at this wonderful fixer-upper. Why don't y'all come up to Asheville and help work on this puppy, right? This is what we had in our communities, boarded up buildings. We apparently had the same aluminum contractor that Greenwood had. So we just kind of boarded up and hope it disappears. Look at all the stock. We were too poor to tear it down, and we couldn't take part of the urban renewal because we had bad credit. That's it. That's the history of Asheville. So when you all go up to visit Asheville, we had this stock that was just sitting there ready to be polished. So, like a Greek choir, anytime somebody tried to fix our downtown, those children's children would rise up and say, that'll never work here, don't even try. We're not those urban people, we're not Manhattan. You know, we've been down that road. Y'all have some of those people in your community? Every community I go to has these people. So, our firm was started by this gentleman here, Julian Price, who was a native of Greensboro, inherited a lot of money. His family had the Jefferson Pilot Insurance Company. He was a philanthropist, and then he just decided, I'm going to try something different. So he took his inheritance and folded it into a for-profit real estate development company. 75% of our money goes into the sticks and bricks. We do buildings, mostly about getting residential downtown. 25% we reserve to seed entrepreneurs. So we find people with crazy ideas, like the first vegetarian restaurant. They couldn't get a bank loan. I don't know if y'all have ever been on the Laughing Sea, but it's now an anchor in downtown Asheville, the nightclub, the Orange Peel. You know, we just think of, what do downtowns have? Entertainment, restaurants, people living there. This is one of our buildings before and after. This is the Malaprops bookstore. These are 400 to 600 square foot unit apartments. So let me ask you all, who in this room would live in a 400 to 600 square foot apartment? Got one person. Let me change the question. Who in this room has lived in a 400 to 600 square foot apartment? That was our consumer preference survey, right there. You know, we just thought about what a city is. This is 26 apartments. Surely there's 26 people that are new to town, recently graduated, recently divorced, downsizing. This has been 99% leased up ever since we opened the doors. This is called a home run in the real estate development world. The banks wouldn't finance this building. You had to do it with 100% equity. This is the reality of how cities operate. So Julian also was a bit of a rabble-rouser. He passed away in 2001. In 1993, he had, this is what Asheville looked like. That's the Grove Arcade, completely bricked in. He had his own magazine to try to, again, lift the spirits of the children's children. I love this quote that he used from Arthur Frommer. Among cities with no particular recreation appeal, those that have preserved their past continue to enjoy tourism. Those that haven't received no tourism at all. Tourism simply doesn't go to a city that's lost its soul. 15 years after he published that is this kind of way to lift people's spirits. Farmers Magazine lists us as the #5 place to visit in the country. Just last year we got listed in Farmers as the #1 place in the country to visit. We get 9 million tourists a year through our downtown, and we started mostly by just trying to get people living there. So again, we think about what cities are and the way that they operate. Now Julian used the print media. We kind of take it to the next realm using PowerPoint as our weapon. My job when I was working at PIP was to talk about the data, to bring the information to our community, and I would do a ridiculous amount of PowerPoints. I used to joke at one point that I would do birthday parties and bar mitzvahs, just showing up with this data. It's important. The question to put in your mind is, what is a city? What are you building? What's your community? For me, a city is a finite boundary of land. My city, Asheville, in fact, our state legislature just passed a law saying that my city is not allowed to annex until 2026. They just took that right away from us. It's actually written into the state charter now, so go ahead and try to change that. So my city is a finite boundary of acres that needs to be managed. We have a portfolio of $15 million. My city is a portfolio of $12.8 billion real estate development. To think about it as a corporation is critically important. So let's just look at Oxford American Dictionary and look up incorporate. To constitute a company, a city, or other organization as a legal corporation. So mayor is a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Asheville is $12.8 billion, which is 4 times Donald Trump's personal wealth. Do you think of your community that way? Do you think of your elected officials as CEOs and the board of directors for those corporations? This is what I want you to start to think about with your community. So when we do that, we bring portfolio management tools into the thinking of cities. I love this quote from Michael Bloomberg, "In God we trust, but for everyone else bring the data." What data belies your city and how it functions? So is this too nerdy or getting too nerdy for you guys? Are you following me? So if we look at buildings like product, when farmers farm the soil, they don't farm the entire farm. They farm what they feel is economically feasible with the crop yield per acre, the cost in the marketplace, what it costs to fertilize that per acre, et cetera, et cetera. This is one of our buildings, the old JCPenney's building. It's interesting you've got JCPenney's as well. We made a retail, office, and residential above that. There was folks that came in, the city actually took the lead in the late 80s, early 90s. They did a bunch of streetscape projects like this one here. Those individuals were accused of subsidizing downtown property owners by building sidewalks. So even though the entire world can walk on this, and y'all, some of you may have even sat on those benches, let's go ahead and own the fact that the community gave us this gift of the sidewalk, 2 benches, a street tree, and a bike rack, a garbage can, right? Thank you, city. We took this from $300,000 of value, that's it, to over $11 million. So the way that we see it is this piece of portfolio inside our community now pays 3,500% more taxes. Think about that. That's 3,500% more stuff that my community can afford. Do y'all have a 401k plan that grows by 3,500%? Savings account? Now think about this. This is a piece of the community's wealth. We don't get that money. It goes into the community, into our coffers. That's an incredible bonus over a 15-year time period. And people say to me, like, well, Joe, that's fine. We've got this Walmart over here at $20 million of value, which is impressive. Walmart pays $221,000 in property taxes, a huge sum of money. Well, there's my house over there. Those are my dogs. My dogs think they're lions, by the way. But we're on 1/10 of an acre, and we pay $2,000 in taxes. So if you had a 1-acre cookie cutter that fell in my neighborhood, it hit 10 houses, or 10 times 2, which is about $20,000 an acre. You follow me? Take that 1-acre cookie cutter, float it up in space, and divide Walmart's tax bill by the 34 acres it's sitting on. Its tax productivity is $6,500. Now, if you had an acre of our building, this is what you get. So if you're running a community, what kind of cash flow do you want to have? I was presenting this in Denver, Colorado. I wanted to make it real simple for them. And I said, look, you got an acre of land to grow something in Colorado, what are you going to grow? This joke works in Asheville too, by the way. So you're probably saying to me, Joe, look, that's not fair. We do Walmarts for retail taxes, not property taxes. So let's go ahead and get rid of my house because I don't sell anything, and let's run the numbers. So Walmart, typical Walmart's about $77 million of retail sales, but the nut that actually comes back to the city is a portion of a portion. So we get 8 cents on the sales tax dollar, and the city gets 27% of that. Actually, the state legislature's dialed that down to about 9%. Let's go ahead and keep the older number and be more conservative about it. So that's $47,500 in sales tax, which is more handsome than retail tax, property taxes, or a total tax nut of $51,000 an acre. In Walmart, we're getting $330 just with property taxes out of our building. You add our retail taxes, you're cooking with gas, jobs per acre. I mean, how y'all want to look at this? The reason why we built cities for tens of thousands of years is because they're economically significant to us. You're getting more stuff in less space. It's that simple. You're stacking things up. That's stacking your cash flow. Y'all follow me? So what we're doing to normalize this is making things down to a per acre basis so you can better judge your relativity. That's just the city side. As you know, cities sit on top of these things called counties, the bigger corporations. Now your counties can't annex. It's not like Buncombe County can go off and take down Madison County. That'll never happen. Our county boundaries are fixed. So as a city, we're cash flowing out to the county as well. So this is the average city resident and what we pay to my county in property taxes. So that's single family. This is the average county single family person and what they pay out to the county. So you see that the city's single family resident is a much more handsome producer of county wealth than a county single family resident. This is the data. When you bring them all into this, you see why somebody might do the mall. Commercial brings a handsome $8,000 an acre in the mall to the county per acre versus residential down here at $1,700. But let's not stop there. Let's bring downtown into it. So here's our building at $250,000 an acre of county taxes produced versus the mall at $8,000. So what you see here is what's good for downtown is great for the city, but it's incredible for the county. So when does my county step in and do a streetscape project or build a greenway or do anything in the inner city? And again, that's the conversation we try to have in Asheville because it's good for, what's good for downtown will help them as well. And this is the conversation you all need to have. The county needs to be part of this conversation as well. So realize what I'm doing here is not complex math. This isn't, I don't have a CPA, I don't have a degree in finance. I'm just doing simple 5th grade division to figure out efficiency. And we do this, right? We talk about cars. We don't talk about cars on a miles per tank basis, do we? If we did, we'd all be driving Ford F-150s at 650 miles per tank. You realize how silly that is because every tank is different sizes. Well, the same is true of real estate. And we just got back from doing a study in Lafayette, Louisiana, and in that county there are over 300,000 different parcel shapes. 300,000. How do you make them relative? So we say, rather than miles per tank, miles per gallon, the numbers change. Look at that. We should all be driving BMW Setas at 70 miles per gallon. I'm being cute here about this, but I'm trying to drive home the point about efficiency. We do this for $3 a gallon commodity. We certainly should be doing it for a $30,000 a quarter acre parcel, right? So just be aware of that. So we've done analysis all over the country, even in Canada, and we see the same trend. For every dollar of county taxes somebody in county single family is paying to the county per acre, a city resident is producing about $5 to the county. The Walmart's about $6.70, the mall is about $9. As soon as you get to a 2-story building, this can be in Greenwood, it could be Driggs, Idaho, or it could be downtown Asheville. As soon as you get to a 2-story building, you see an exponential jump in the productivity of your community. And that's the reality of the data that's going on in each community. So again, this is a mashup of 36 different cities. This is the trend. So realize these are just the relentless rules of humble arithmetic. If you do the math on this stuff, it will reveal to you what's going on in your own community. So we can do this. We do this with technology, right? I can show you an X-ray and you can see hard tissue inside your body. I can show you your fillings, right? Change the computer, get you different data. I can do an MRI. I can even do a 3-dimensional image of your brain. So we have technology out there, and actually many of your governments, to take the city, set it aside, and you can do the GIS analysis. Typically it's used for things like infrastructure, roads and stuff like that, the buildings that are built on those roads, and then the ologies, the hydrologies, the geologies, and mapping the earth, right? So if you can get in there and separate the stuff and split away the man-made versus the natural, can we map the taxes? Can we map the tax productivity to see how that's going in your community? So in Asheville, this is the miles per tank map. We have non-taxable. This is a big piece of national forest right here, and the reservoirs. So non-taxable is gray. Low value is in green. High value is hot. So this is the Biltmore estate, right? Incredibly potent property, a multi-million-dollar building, very valuable. But it's also sitting on 8,000 acres. So this is the miles per tank. This is the miles per gallon. Now, for those, this is kind of nerdy to look at. Let's just look at it in 3D. Can y'all tell me where downtown Asheville might be? Boom. So that's the productivity, that's the punch that our community gets out of our downtown. Now realize, there's 6 mills, which is my county property tax bill, that is laid across this model like a blanket. Where does the county get the biggest punch for its dollar? Right there, right? So this is a way to make it graphically clear what's going on. We did this in Austin. We're nerds. We like to do this. Their map. You can tell where downtown Austin is, right? This is Travis County. They gave us more data, so we got a little bit more crazy about the data. So this is another way of looking at it. This is called the cartogram, where we do 2-dimensional distortion of information. So this is a map of energy sales in 1921. You can see South Carolina is number 18, which is 1/18 the size of New York, which is the number 1 seller back in the day. So we took the Travis County map and made its cartogram and did a measurement. So downtown takes up about that much space, but it's like a 1-to-72 punch in the finances of the community. That's just the property taxes. When we modeled other things, like we did a 6-county analysis of, this was kind of fun, we measured their booze. So this is their mixed beverage taxes that they get. I was presenting this at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, hey, who's in this 78704 district right here? And there was a table in the back of the room, and they're all like, woo! They were very excited. And I'm like, y'all, this is the college right here. You guys are drinking more than your college. And these are adults. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they must have been drunk at the meeting. But anyway, so that's their booze sales. This is the hotel sales, you see again, downtown's killing it. And again, this is a 6-county map. When we did the retail sales, we were kind of blown away because this is the mall zone, right? A 100% almost monolithically commercial environment, and it still doesn't keep up with the downtown. It's got to have the burden of government buildings, residential, nonprofits, churches, things like that. So this is the data. We're agnostic about it. It is what it is. One of the board of directors asked me, he's like, well, my daughter, she shops at the mall. She blows $250 a month at the mall. And I said, yeah, how often is she shopping? 6 times a month, 8 times a month tops. And I asked him, I said, so what did you spend at lunch today? He's like, $12. I'm like, what do you spend every day? He's like, $12. Multiply it times 20. You know, the data is there, just look at it. Remove your biases. I don't know if you all read the book Moneyball. This is essentially Moneyball for cities. Moneyball is a book about the biases that were embedded in baseball. The whole industry has changed because of this one book, because of one baseball team that was looking at data rather than biases. So again, let the math reveal what's going on. So this is the total economic effect of the Travis County region in downtown Austin. So basically running through the usual suspects, here's their Walmart at 800,000, this is their power center at 1.2 million, and this is the mall at about 2 million an acre. When you get into downtown, it gets obscene at $100 million up to about $487 million of value per acre. And again, remember the Walmart's 800,000. Now, behind all of this, and this is the architect in me talking, there is a heritage to your community that needs to be acknowledged. What we noticed in Austin is that this is one of my favorite buildings. This is the Littlefield building. Here it is from the postcard from 1912. This building is producing $60 million of value per acre, while the Walmart's at 800,000. So one of the things to realize is that when their forefathers were building this building, they weren't thinking about a cash flow model. They were trying to leave an imprint on the community. That imprint is worth $60 million today per acre. So this thing has been a high producer of taxes for over 100 years. The question to ask yourself is, will Walmart be here 100 years from now? And people ask me, they're like, well, Joe, you hate Walmart, don't you? And I'm like, no, I've actually presented this in front of the head of Walmart's real estate development program. Now, it's not about the player, it's about the game. Our tax system essentially rewards cheap buildings. The cheaper the building you make, the lower the taxes you pay, period. Walmart is unabashed about, they design buildings to last 15 years, period. That's it, that's their business model. But it's your community. You can decide how long of an investment you want to have in your community. It's you have to deal with it, or your grandchildren will. Did y'all get that? I hate to be so dour about this, but there's a way out of this. So here's another building, again, the Driscoll, 1886 at 67 million. So here's the cash flow. Here's the county multifamily. This is city single family, about $5,000 an acre of Travis County taxes, which is more productive than the Walmart. Here's city multifamily, a handsome producer, about $60,000 of county taxes per acre. This is the average of downtown. And then this is the Littlefield right here at about $300,000 of county taxes per acre. This building is just obscene, $2.4 million of county taxes per acre. So think of it, 2 acres of this building would equal the 172 acre that. Or 1.1 acres of this would equal the 20 acre that. This is all about just understanding what your choices are, right? So people say to me, like, well, Joe, that's fine, but people don't want that. You know, I want to be 6 foot tall and have a full head of hair. I think y'all should pay for that. Make me happy, right? So what if I could do a complete community where people got what they want? Just go ahead and let's just spread out. I don't want to have a neighbor. I want somebody else to foot the bill for my infrastructure. Let's just kick the can down the road. But we got it in Gwinnett County. Y'all know Gwinnett County?
Yes.
I had never been there. I was just like, all right, whatever, we're just looking at your data. The Chamber of Commerce was our client on this one. And we did the analysis. The whole time they kept on telling me they were rural. We're rural people in Gwinnett County. We're not urban people. We're out here, and that's the city, right? Their county seat is Lawrenceville. That's the biggest town in all of Gwinnett County at 35,000 people. When we did the analysis, I was shocked. I was like, I called up Kelly Brownlow and I was like, Kelly, y'all are 800,000 people. That's huge, right? She's like, yeah, but Joe, you don't understand. We're 460 square miles. All right. Well, it's 800,000 divided by 460. Well, that's about 1,900 people per square mile. You see these people as 100 people? Y'all follow me? So 1,900 people per square mile, they're less dense than DeKalb, which is 2,700 people per square mile. But we had all this extra data laying around in our office, so we're like, let's go ahead and put them up against other cities. So when I was presenting this to Gwinnett County, I said, yeah, this is kind of impressive. Y'all are 200 people per square mile denser than Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. Y'all know what's in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina? Yeah. I was like, how the hell did you guys get 200 people denser than Charlotte and never produced a Charlotte? I mean, to me, this is mind-blowing. You didn't produce a Charlotte, you didn't produce a Nashville. You're 600 people per square mile denser than Nashville. You're almost 1,000 people per square mile denser than Austin. There's Raleigh, Asheville, and Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill is 35,000 people. This is what rural looks like. That's not. That's the data. So when we did their model, we were kind of blown away. I was talking with Josh McCarty made the model. And I was like, wait a minute, turn it on its side so we could see this thing. And I was like, what the hell is going on? It's just like one big thick carpet of stuff, right? This is what we typically see. I don't have to tell you where downtown Chapel Hill is, or downtown Carrboro, or downtown Hillsborough. You see the spike, boom, boom, and boom. So this community consciously chose to suppress the towns and not let the towns grow up. The county actually competed with the towns and filled in the gaps between. So I asked them, I said, are y'all having budget problems? Oh yeah, we can't afford the infrastructure. Funny how that happened. You know, they took on all this horizontal infrastructure, they've got nothing to cultivate that well. So when you when you look at what they've produced, the top end of Gwinnett County, that's the highest value per acre. This is the most dense county out of all these on this chart. That's the wealth that they created. They got what they asked for. They got a low-rise, low-impact community. They got all the impacts of infrastructure. So just for fun, just to rub it in a little bit, we made an economic heart monitor. So we've got Nashville, Austin, and Lawrenceville, and we ran their economic pulses. Like, let's see, we're peaking out at 192 million an acre here, 476, and y'all are flat down at 8. You know, that's the reality of their situation. These are conscious choices that they made. So what I want you to realize is the behavioral economics at play, that we in development will follow your policies. We will see these paths. So this is one of my favorite maps. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming. You've got two values in your real estate. You've got your value for your dirt. Is there an assessor in the audience? Any assessors? Good, you guys are like this. So you've got improvements on the dirt and you've got the dirt, right? Those are two values. You can pull any property, you'll see these two numbers in there. We turn off the buildings and just look at the dirt value and see the way the assessors do them. This is probably the most obscene example I've ever seen. You see all these houses out here are the same color, blue, so it's about $15,000 of value per acre. You see a couple of anomalies right there, you know? But this is my favorite. What's going on here, where this is $15,000 an acre, and just by crossing the street, it jumps up to $35,000 an acre. It's the same zoning category. How by crossing the street does land double in value? And the tax assessor was sitting in the front row and she shot her hand up in the air. And she just yelled out, "You don't understand." I'm like, okay, try me, what am I missing? She goes, well, the more land you have, the lower the value. Let that wash over you for a second. The mayor just about spat coffee out of his nose. He laughed so hard. The more land you have, the lower the value. This is a limited commodity, people. You can't make another Cheyenne. So I asked her, I said, so you've got 3/4 of a mile of a road here, 3/4 of a mile road here, another half mile and half mile out. This person's got about 200 feet. You've got 3 miles of infrastructure, you're gonna pay less in taxes for it? She goes, yeah, we don't count that. Okay, you've got the most capacity on the site because it's a big site versus everything else around here, which means you're gonna have more commerce. More commerce means more trips means more car accidents, more fire calls. You don't charge that? She goes, no, we don't charge that. Okay, more commerce, more police calls because of theft. You charge that? No, more land, lower the value. I'm like, in what economic world does this make sense? She goes, well, that's our standard. We follow our standard. So I presented this at the International Association of Assessing Officers. I'm like, where'd y'all get the standard from? Did Moses deliver it to you? And it's just something that's been in place. It actually makes sense when you think of farmers. because they have less, an ear of corn doesn't call the cops. But when you apply it into the cities, it's made its way into, well, where am I gonna find the biggest parcels? At the edge of your community. So you build roads to me, I get more roads, more cost, and I'm gonna pay less for it in the end. That's just the reality of the economics. So realizing aren't invisible market forces. There's a lot of strings that are at play driving demand. So just to kind of play this out, we're going to get into the closing turn here. We're in Chattanooga. We did an analysis. This is their downtown Chattanooga. This is their hipster zone with Brooklyn across the river over here, where everybody's got stuff stapled in their faces and tattoos. But there was this developer from Atlanta that wanted to build this Publix grocery store in that area. So they wanted to just get rid of all the urban design guidelines and do this grocery store, which is your conventional box and surface parking lot. So there's the site. In the neighborhood, we already have mixed-use buildings, so we're not saying build Boston here or something. There's stuff in their community. There's a local developer that built this Green Life grocery store, which I'll show in a second, and you have townhouses. So you already have the ingredients of an urban community already happening there. Here's the typical conventional Publix surface parking lot, big box. They're already in the marketplace, we can comp those. Here's the stuff that's mixed use, already 2 blocks away. Office above retail, residential above retail. This is called a deep throat model, where you have your grocery store and you put a liner building in front. So these are like yoga studios and retail spaces to buy pet supplies or whatever. But that's a local person already did that. That's the Green Life grocery store. Publix has done crazy stuff. This is a Publix in Miami Beach, where you actually drive up on the roof, and it looks like a UFO hit this. But it's really a conveyor belt system to get you on the roof. This was built in 1998. Like, they know how to do this stuff. This is a small footprint Publix in West Palm Beach, Florida. Tiny grocery store with a surface parking lot and a door back here, and then a door on the street, so you have this more urban side to it as well, or pedestrian-friendly facade. By the site, the 34-foot of grade change across the site. The developer is essentially cutting into the hill. This is a really crude model that I made in SketchUp. We did this project in like a week, just to kind of get them some numbers. So this is what it looks like. We wanted them to see that all of these houses are now going to look at a tarmac of a roof. And here's your quarter-mile long future graffiti wall right here, right? But we're also running the taxes. And I'll come back to this at the end, so don't worry about that. So what if you just did Urban Design 101? Meet with one of the local developers who does townhouses, build them on the wall so that you have townhouses, residential facing residential, and do a couple of corner buildings, call it a day. This is what you get. Do a better site design, pick up the cues that the local guy did, and do the Green Life style grocery store, center parking in the valley here, and then ring the site with mixed uses. This is what you get. Go crazy and do Miami Beach, just drive right up onto the roof, use the earth as your rail, basically, and densify the heck out of it with a ring. This is what you get. Back it down to West Palm Beach, small footprint, big parking in the center, ring the site. That's what you get. And then you've irritated the developer, he goes back to Atlanta, and you just get what's already happening in the neighborhood, which is mixed-use buildings and townhouses. Boom. So let's recap. Here are the taxes paid today on the site. Here's what the developer's proposing. So the mayor is basically arguing, let's increase the taxes by 3 times. Did y'all follow me? Am I going like way too fast? I've had a lot of sweet tea. Here's if you just do add some additional housing in mixed-use buildings. This is with a better site design. This is going crazy to Miami Beach, backing it down to West Palm Beach in a no-build scenario. This is basically an opportunity cost model. You're taking an opportunity, but you're foregoing other opportunities. So you need to balance this in your decision-making process. So what if we were to take a couple of them and just look at them? Well, really, when you look at these 2 buildings, you should look at the tax productivity per year at 253 versus 44. But you really need to net this out over a 20-year window. When you make this decision, you're stuck with it for 20 years. So really, the net effect is taking these numbers and bringing it forward to 2000 or to 20 years out. So you're looking at a difference between $5 million and $900,000. As a community, you should have a conversation. Just reach in your pocket and just throw $2 million into this one. Even if you did that, you'd still be ahead of the game $2.2 million. So the thing to think about is that I can actually underbuild in your community and pay less taxes for it, is what's going on here. You still have the infrastructure. You still have to drive a bus by. You still have the garbage trucks go by. So when we allow a certain pattern to happen, that pattern is an economic model, but you're foregoing these other things. You don't have the money for the greenway anymore, the art teacher, or the dancing traffic cop. Those all have to be cut out of the budget because you don't have the money. You can go to the city manager and ask all you want, but if you don't have the cash flow coming in, you can't do that. Does that make sense? So, all right, Joe, that's fine. That's cost and benefit. These are policies that hurt ourselves. Now what do we do with the gun? Well, this is kind of brand new. This is something we just finished last week. We're still kind of in the 75% way. I was thinking about not showing this, but I think you need to see this. This is a full cost-benefit model of an entire county. This is Lafayette Parish in Louisiana. This is their revenue. Again, you can spot where downtown is. And we did a costing model for the entire parish. We figured out the cost of roads, the cost of the network, the cost of, they have these things called coulees, which are essentially drainage canals to drain the entire area because they're in bayou. And we basically, this is looking at a side view of the parish. This is all the revenues, all the taxes that are paid out of these, and these are all the costs on a parcel by parcel basis. And we netted it out, what's in the black and what's in the red. And then this is the 3D model. They're in a very dire situation in Lafayette Parish. They don't see it yet, but they can see it on the horizon. When you net this whole model out, those costs are there. You can't wish them away, and they have to pay for them. Those roads, once they're there, the finance officer, we're meeting with the finance officer, and she had the roads in the ledger for the city under assets. Right? She said, well, the developer builds them and gives them to us, they're assets. I'm like, yeah, you have to maintain them, that's a liability. What's it cost to maintain a road? Ask a developer, we know, we'll tell you. But does the city know that? Is the city running the nut on those things and putting it forward? When you think about this stuff, this is the total net productivity model of the entire parish. The reason why they're doing this is because they only have $300,000 to pay for surfacing of roads outside the city limits for the entire county. They're going broke in a very, very slow way. Cities don't crash the way that a business does. They go through this slow riding pain to avoid bankruptcy. New Orleans can't step in and buy this place. The community's got to deal with it. So they just start cutting services or they raise taxes. But the third paradigm is we need to rethink what we're asking for in our communities. So let's kind of flip forward. Their problem is real simple. The average single-family house is about $150,000 worth of value. The average property tax for the city is about 1%, which means that it's yielding about $1,500 in taxes to the city. Of that nut, about 150 bucks goes into the road budget. When you actually run the cost of what those roads would cost to replace and what should be in the savings account per household, you're looking at about, for the roads, $3,300. Could you imagine being the mayor and saying, okay, we're going to raise everybody's taxes by $3,000, but wait, we're not done. There's stuff under the roads, there's pipes. We need to set aside money there, that's about another $4,000. So you're looking at the average house being upside down $7,000. That's just to maintain what they have today. That's the reality of most American cities and the way that we've developed for the last 50 years. Again, this is something that you need to think about. So, during the recession, this is, I think this is the Atlantic magazine, yeah. They're basically giving us the indicators. We basically marched ourselves off the cliff following a pattern of development by having incentives in place. If I don't charge you for your full cost in my community, that's an incentive. It's not the way that we're typically used to doing it, where I as a developer come in and ask you for a zoning bonus. It's built into the system. And we just have to be transparent about that, put it on the table, and figure out whether you can afford it. So just to close, my community of Asheville is $12.8 billion. It's worth more than all the professional sports teams in my state combined. Or another way of looking at it, we're 12.8 Charlotte Panthers. I can guarantee you that Mr. Richardson knows Cam Newton's towel bill, right? Does your city know the full economic cost of what it's building on itself? Are you asking those questions? We had a debate in our office about going from 3-cent cups, three pennies for our cups in our nightclub to 5 cents, and whether or not we could afford that because we wanted to go to compostable corn-based starch cups. We had to debate that. Are you doing this and fine-tuning those arguments at your city level? That's the thing. You've got to measure this stuff, you need to know what's going on, and you need to just be honest about where the costs and the revenues are, and you need to do the math. So thank you.